Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief keeps you informed about what's happening in Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, and Maryland. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and, of course, local weather. Your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, Cinco de Mayo, 2021. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis daily news brief. Happy Cinco de Mayo, and congrats go to @short_EC. That's the Twitter handle. I have a $25 gift card to Caliente Grill for you. I can't get it to you today, though, but DM me your mailing address, and I will send it right out. And in celebration of Cinco de Mayo, I do have a few more Caliente gift cards to give away. Just tweet about @Caliente Grill MD and @Annapolis sometime today, and we will pick a few winners and get you some $25 gift cards for some good food. And if you are looking to go out today or tonight, you know where I recommend. All right, let's get into it. The courts are back in business. Yesterday, Andy Reyes was convicted by a jury on attempted murder charges stemming from a shooting in Brooklyn Park on December of 2019. Daniel Bartley was shot 11 times and miraculously survived the shooting. When he was finally able to speak, he did tell the police who did it and that Reyes was actually a close friend of his own girlfriend. That's the first jury trial in the courthouse since courts were closed. Reyes is scheduled to be sentenced in June and is facing a life sentence. During yesterday's media call, County Executive Pittman said that the health department and the schools are working together to vaccinate students and faculty by offering clinics at every one of the area high schools, with the exception of Crofton High School, on 3 consecutive Wednesdays beginning on May 12th. Now, Wednesdays are the day that schools are supposed to be closed for their weekly deep cleaning, so I'm not quite sure how that all works out. It is expected that the FDA will approve vaccinations for children as young as 12 in the next day or so, and Governor Hogan said yesterday that the state would move swiftly to make sure that those vaccines were available for those 455,000 kids that are in that 12 to 16 range. The governor also said that while President Biden has set a goal of 70% vaccination by Independence Day, Governor Hogan says his goal is to be back to, quote, normal, unquote, by Memorial Day. Well, Governor, that's only 26 days away, and only 2.1 million people have been vaccinated in Maryland, so that's a lot of poking to be done in just under 4 weeks, but I hope it gets done. The county executive also announced that the county has given out more than $700,000 in grants to 11 area organizations to put forth what they're calling Vaccination Ambassadors. These organizations will use the money to hire people to get the vaccine messaging out to remote and underserved communities throughout the county. The organizations that did receive the grants, and they're usually in about $100,000 range, are the Anne Arundel Community Action Agency, Casa de Maryland, Center of Help, Elevate Her, Growth Matters, Heritage Community Church, HACA, Kingdom Care, and the Maryland Reentry Resource Center. The ambassadors are targeting areas that have the lowest vaccination rates coupled with the higher incidence of COVID-19. Hey, if you were downtown this week, make sure you stop into the newest store on Main Street. Severna Park's Cottage has opened up their second location in the county right here in Annapolis. The Cottage is on Main Street, and they are open 7 days a week, and you can check them out in person or online at shopthecottage.com. Congrats to them, and I have so much admiration for a business to be able to actually expand in this environment. Heads up, the Maryland Chicken Wing Festival is back on this year at the fairgrounds. June 5th is the date, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. are the hours, and yesterday I spoke with the organizers, and they have some really cool stuff planned and lined up, but it will be a COVID-safe environment, so there's going to be limited attendance, masks when not eating or drinking. They're using more of the fairgrounds land to spread out, and they're going to have plenty of hand sanitizers. So stay tuned for more info on that, but if you want to snag tickets, and again, because they are limited, you probably want to do that. They're only $15, and they're available at eventbrite.com. Just get in there and search for Maryland Chicken Wing Festival to bring you right to it, or you can just Google Maryland Chicken Wing Festival, and that's the top answer. If you are holding tickets for the 2020 version that was canceled because of COVID, they will be honored. And finally, as we wrap it up, I want to introduce you to Scott MacMullan. He is a local attorney. He is a friend, and he is the guy who created the very first podcast in Annapolis, named aptly enough, the Annapolis podcast. But he'll be doing a periodic segment on lawyer and legal stuff here for the Daily News Brief, and I thank him very much for agreeing to do it. And you never know when you might need some legal insight. So make sure you subscribe to the Annapolis podcast first, and make sure you hang around to hear Scott's debut on the Daily News Brief. All right, that does wrap up the news for us today. As always, thank you for listening, and if you are somewhere where you can leave us a rating or a review, please do, and make sure you let your friends, family, and colleagues all know to follow us. A quick thank you to the sponsor for today's Daily News Brief, Solar Energy Services up in Millersville, and to the Kristi Neidhardt Team of Northrop Realty, a Long and Foster company. Hang tight, we've got George from DCMDVA Weather standing by with your locally forecast weather report, and we have Scott MacMullan with your legal brief. But right now, here's Rick Peters from Solar Energy Services.
Hello, energy consumers. This is Rick Peters, president of Solar Energy Services. Are you kicking yourself for not installing solar in 2020, missing out on that sweet 26% federal income tax credit? Not to worry, because legislation passed at the very end of 2020 extended the 26% tax credit, which means consumers like you can act now to get that credit and have your new solar system up and running before springtime when solar generation moves into peak season. Plus, in addition to the feds, several state and county incentives help to make the solar investment an even bigger no-brainer. Don't have the cash? We've got you covered with competitive financing that is more than offset by the energy savings. Bottom line, Uncle Sam wants you to install solar, and so does the state of Maryland. And you're going to love the savings, so what are you waiting for? Sunshine's a wasting. Contact us today for a free solar design at 410-923-6090 or visit us at solarsaves.net.
Sunshine, sunshine, nothing else can make me feel so fine.
When you live near Annapolis, you know how fickle the weather can be. So you need a truly local forecast that's accurate and reliable. Forecast right here in Annapolis. DCMDVA Weather is not just for today, but for the rest of the week and the weekend too. Now here's George Young of DCMDVA Weather with the weather outlook for today and beyond.
Hey everyone, this is George with DCMDVA Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Wednesday, May 5th. Yesterday brought the heat and humidity as expected, along with some PM showers and storms as well. And today will be fairly similar, with temps again likely in the 80s for PM highs, with another chance for showers and storms, this time throughout much of the daytime hours, as the cold front approaches from the west, with the main low pressure center with that cold front passing by not too far to the northwest, which means more breezy winds gusting over 20 or 30 miles per hour at times before skies clear for Thursday, which will be very refreshing with sunshine and highs in the 65 to 70 degree range, with more showers than likely Friday as a reinforcing frontal boundary moves through the mid-Atlantic region, with highs again in the 65 to 70 degree range before skies clear yet again in time for the weekend, which now looks like sunshine in mid to upper 60s on Saturday after a chilly start in the low to mid 40s for most Saturday morning, before mixed skies and 70 plus degrees Sunday with a small chance of a scattered rain shower. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DCMDVA Weather. Make it a great day out there. Stay healthy and be safe. And be sure to get our free app on all of your devices by searching DCMDVA Weather in the Apple or Google App Stores. And also be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and use our website each day as well by visiting DCMDVAweather.com so you can always stay weather informed.
Another moving moment from Kristi Neidhardt of the Kristi Neidhardt Team from Northrop Realty, a Long and Foster company.
I've always loved being a realtor because to me, it's more than a job. It's something that gives me an incredible sense of helping others. And this year in particular, when so many people we've helped had to move rather than wanted to move, it gave me an even greater sense of purpose. Whatever the reason for someone's move, from a career relocation to simply needing to downsize, it has truly been super rewarding and a privilege to be able to assist our clients through all the steps of their journeys. Though it hasn't always been easy, we've learned new ways of navigating the home buying and selling process. So whether you need to say goodbye to your current home or are looking for a new house to start the next chapter of your life in, the Kristi Neidhardt Team is here to work with you and for you, because truly we are all in this together.
That's another moving moment from Kristi Neidhardt. To get in touch, call 410-295-6579 or visit kn-team.com. That's kn-team.com.
You never know when you might need an attorney. It could be when the lights light up on the police car behind you, Or maybe you have $1 million idea and need to incorporate. From wills and trusts to car wrecks and arrests, Scott MacMullan with the Annapolis-based Scott MacMullan Law, LLC, is here to offer some insight for you with today's Legal Brief.
This is your Scott Mac Law Legal Minute, sponsored by Scott MacMullan Law, LLC, right here in Annapolis, Maryland. What are my rights if I'm arrested? Being arrested isn't really a nice situation. You likely feel afraid and angry and clueless. You also might feel like you have already been declared guilty without a chance to tell your side of the story. However, when you're arrested, you have certain legal rights that cannot be violated. You also need to call your attorney as soon as possible. The police are working to build their case against you. They are doing their job, and they are likely not your friend. Many people believe that if you're arrested and not read your rights, they can escape punishment. Not true. But if the police fail to read a suspect his or her Miranda rights, the prosecutor can't use, for most purposes, anything the suspect says as evidence against the suspect at trial. But in other ways, they can be found guilty at trial. But they just can't use that evidence. The U.S. Supreme Court requires all defendants who are arrested be read their Miranda rights. In the Miranda case, the court held that a defendant cannot be questioned by police in an interrogation until they are made aware of their right to remain silent, right to consult an attorney, right to have an attorney present during questioning, right to have an attorney appointed if indigent. When arrested or approached by a law officer for questioning, you have an absolute constitutional right to remain silent. You do not need to explain yourself when confronted by the police officer, and you need to realize that the officer is just doing their job to build their case against you. For example, it is common when people have been pulled over in their car for the officer to flat out ask them if they've been drinking. It is important to realize that drinking alcohol and being under the influence are two different things, but they will likely be conflated against your interests in court. Instead of answering that question, it might be more prudent to tell the cop that my lawyer always told me to be quiet when talking to police. Here's my license and registration. In short, being respectful yet quiet when being questioned by a police officer will likely put you in a better position for your words not to be misconstrued and used against you later on when your case goes to trial. Be quiet, be respectful, and call an attorney. And if you have any questions or find yourself in legal trouble, call Scott MacMullan Law, LLC. Scott MacMullan is located at 104 Cathedral Street, Annapolis, Maryland, and focuses his practice on criminal defense, traffic, personal injury matters, and estate planning matters. If you have any questions, call us 443-494-9775. This is information and not intended as advice. You should contact us regarding your individual situation. We invite you to contact Scott MacMullan Law, LLC. Please do not send confidential information until such time the attorney-client relationship has been established. Thank you for listening to the Scott Mac Law Minute.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues, this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And don't forget about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. And make sure you follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. This Daily News Brief podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m.